Joining us off a huge overtime win last night at the RAC against Nebraska, a team that came in 13-4, Rutgers coach Steve Pikiell. Coach, welcome back to the show.
Guys, I appreciate you having me on, and it was a long night last night, but as a college basketball fan, just a fantastic game. Like just a really good, well coached by both teams, I thought, and just exciting win for us, and we needed it.
The RAC was loud. I mean, Jeff's been to games there. We've talked about that before. I want you to talk about your team's aggressiveness, both on offense and defense. You had 56 rebounds. That's the most ever for the programs they've been in the Big Ten. At the same time, on defense, you had two stretches where you held Nebraska 7 minutes scoreless. Talk about just how physical you guys were able to be and kind of dominate that game a little bit.
Well, I will tell you, we've gotten healthy. We've had, some injuries. We started the year without one of our best players, Mawat Mag, and he's rounding himself back in. He's real physical and a really good defender. And early in the season, we just weren't rebounding the basketball that well, to be quite honest with you. And now as our team's evolving a little bit, we're really doing a great job. We had 25 offensive rebounds last night against a good rebounding team. Nebraska is talented offensively and, has some terrific scores all the way around, but they're a real physical basketball team too. So, our league hardens you up that way. You better be tough and you better rebound. We missed a lot of shots too, so you got more opportunities to rebound, but we're starting to find our identity a little bit. And the RAC at Jersey Mike's Arena now they call it, but the RAC has been a real home court advantage. Our students come out, they're back from their break, and it's just a fun place to go watch, basketball. And last night was just a fantastic game, to watch as a basketball fan.
Coach, you talked about the 25 offensive rebounds. Offensive rebounding is a skill or an art that seems to have been lost in college basketball and pro basketball. It's a lot of shooting threes and everybody dropping back. What is it about the way that you're coaching the team and the players that you've brought in that has brought about this kind of group of players, a group of players that don't give up after the shot goes up?
Yeah, I will tell you, I was blessed. I played for, Hall of Fame Coach Calhoun at University of Connecticut. And I was there prior to all the great players. We were just kind of blue collar players when I was there, guys that were under the radar. And one thing we learned how to do was, tenacity to rebound and get after the ball. And, he always said this 95% of college basketball games are won, on the backboards. They really are. And we were able to win one last night, because of that. But you have to have those kind of players too. Cliff, certainly one of the best big guys in the country, but, went after rebounds last night. Mawat Mag, Andre Hyatt, we got some size. But we had a pursuit last night that we haven't had prior. And we're starting to figure that end of the floor out and offensively and defensively. And it's been a big boost for us.
How much do you enjoy coaching in the Big Ten with this physical style of play?
I will tell you, the Big Ten, challenges us coaches. We had 2 days to prepare. You leave Hall of Fame coach Tom Izzo, Michigan State, and preparing for them and the way they play. And then you come and play a team that shoots threes at every opportunity, in Nebraska, and Fred Hoiberg being one of the, NBA coach and a terrific, coach in his own right. And now you got to jump on a plane and leave for Illinois, and how Illinois plays a ranked team and how good they are at home. It challenges you. It challenges your staff. It challenges your players. It's different styles. It's coaches that have been highly successful, the Fran McCaffreys of the world and the Chris Holtmans. So every game brings a whole different, set of keys and a different mindset that you got to take with your players. And your players have to soak in that game plan in 1 or 2 days prep. So it's challenging. I love it. I think it's great. If you're really a basketball fan, you get to see every different style you can imagine and programs and coaches that are really hard, to prepare for. And, I love the challenges of the league and you better be on top of your game and your players better be on top of their game.
I wanted to ask you about sort of building the team. You guys took a preseason trip to Senegal, and you've got 3 players on the team who are from Africa: Mawat Mag, Cliff Mori, and Emmanuel Ogboli from Nigeria. What's it like to take players back there? You had a quote that sometimes guys complain about their 11th pair of sneakers, and this is a village where people don't have shoes. What's it like to take your guys there and show them perspective as you're getting ready to bond as a team like that?
I mean, I thought, first of all, just a fantastic, educational trip. I mean, a third world country, that our players, were excited about, learning the culture, and Cliff and Big Emmanuel and Mawat were telling our guys a little bit about their experiences, and then to get to live it, I thought was unbelievable. I mean, it starts with a series of shots. You have to be tough. Like, a lot of people don't go to Africa. You start with malaria pills and yellow fever shots and everything else. And I think that was probably the hardest part of the trip, but that was the best bonding too. You hit adversity before you even got on the plane. And then when you see how happy the people were in Dakar, and how little they don't have phones, they don't have shoes, most of them. They have a soccer ball for the most part and a field that they run around in, or the beach. I think our guys got a really good perspective of, how blessed we are when they complain, like I said, about their 11th pair of shoes. This gave a whole different perspective to them. And for the players that first time they traveled out of the country to go to Africa, and to spend time there and to go on a safari and to see the history and to see how other people, live. But what I most learned from that trip was how happy they were. They were giving us everything, anything that they had. They were just very giving people. And I've recruited Africa for 32 years and had never been. So it was a great perspective for me to understand where our players have come from and some of the obstacles that they've had to overcome to get to our country.
Coach, these are not athletes. These are student athletes. And I think people lose sight of that so often. The fact that they get to go over there, and we've talked to athletes, professional athletes that have done similar things early in their lives, it leads to players and student athletes who later become people who give back to their community. How important is it for you, the student part of the student athlete, and making sure that they are well-rounded men?
Huge importance, and that's a great statement that you made. Before we went on the trip, Cliff Omore, had a sneaker drive at our school, and I didn't realize what the importance of that. And it was before we actually went on the trip, and he got about 800 pairs of sneakers that he sent home to Nigeria, to his village that he lives at. And he told me how appreciative they were of that. And at the time, Cliff did all the work and to get a thing like that, accomplished. And then a year later, we go over there and I see how many people didn't have sneakers and didn't have shoes and that kind of thing. And I just think he was already a step ahead of us in those areas about thinking about others and, about being good people. Like, we graduate all of our players. It's very important. I want them involved in the community. They're involved in student groups. They go to other games on campus. They support the other student athletes. And I think that's why Jersey Mike's Arena now is full. They get to know our players. Our players appreciate the community. The community comes and supports us in our program. And, I think they learned a lot of lessons that way, life and the kind of person you are and the kind of student are going to last a lot longer than your basketball playing abilities. And, I think our players do that at a high level, as evidenced by Cliff having a sneaker drive. What junior in college is deciding to do that and ship it all home to, the village that he's from. So great lessons learned and lifelong lessons.
We talk about everything that you guys are doing off the court. On the court, you've got the players that are there, and then you've got the excitement around what's coming next too. And those guys have been there along with the football team, watching the games, the other teams watching the basketball games. Talk to us about the excitement around Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. I mean, we're doing interviews with NBA reporters, and they're commenting to us about your recruiting class. Talk to us about the excitement of what we have coming in the future.
I mean, well, I will tell you, there's always excitement in the future. With the guys that we've signed, and we've signed a bunch of guys coming into this program. They're first and foremost like wonderful people and talented basketball players who had choices to go anywhere in the country, and they picked Rutgers. And part of the reason is we're a top 15 academic institution in the country, and the other part is the environment that Jersey Mike's has created. And the people that we have in our program. And so we couldn't be more excited. I mean, we've, have kids coming in that not only talented, but hardworking from great families. They want to go and get a degree, but they also want to continue playing professional basketball beyond college. But I'm really, excited about the class in its entirety. Just talented individuals that work and that want to be part of something that's going to be real special. So, to have those kind of kids say yes to us just bodes well for the future.
Hey, Coach, for two guys that have grown up in Jersey, there seems to be a resurgence in Jersey basketball. It's Rutgers, it's Seton Hall, and then even over the river with St. John's, there seems to be a resurgence in the area. How does that help with recruiting to have a bunch of teams in the area all having this resurgence at once?
Well, I tell you what, there's always been like really good tradition. Obviously, you got Princeton up the road, and how about the run that St. Pete's had in the NCAA tournament when Shaw was there, and FDU last year, winning games in the NCAA tournament. So got a lot of great coaches, and there's a lot of really good high school programs. There's a lot of good high school players. And we're trying to keep some of those guys at home, and I think that's been very important too to our program. But when basketball's good, and the job that Shaw's done at Seton Hall and continues to do, when basketball's good and we're playing each other, these rivalries are great. I think it's just great for all the fans, and we have very knowledgeable fans in New Jersey. New Jersey's a tough, state. Like they know their basketball, and they appreciate it. So it's been great. It really has, and a lot of the programs should be really proud that they've elevated, the talent and expectations around, Division I basketball in the state of New Jersey.
I feel like each time we talk to you, there's different changes in college sports, whether it's the realignment that's going on, NIL, Transfer Portal. I don't need you to get into the details. Obviously, with challenges comes opportunities. What are some of the challenges with the Transfer Portal, but also the opportunities and with NIL and everything else going on right now for you as a coach that you have to encounter, and the players as well?
Yeah, I mean, it is challenging times for sure. It's changing, but you got to continue to evolve. The portal, certainly COVID, when you factor that into, that's changed with the portal because now kids have more eligibility. And then NLI, name, image, and likeness is a big part of the conversation, with kids in the portal. So, you got to find that balance because you can't just go to schools. You still have to go to schools for the right reasons, to be coached, to get a degree, and all those kind of things. But now you have the added, responsibility of if a kid can make money off of his name, image, and likeness, you got to have those opportunities available too. So it's always challenging. Times you still want to find players that want to be at your university and be a part of your program, but you got to grow with that. Name, image, and likeness is here. It's here to stay, and you better be on top of the times too. So very challenging times, but exciting times too.
Do you find name, image, and likeness is something that's helped with recruiting, or is it something that has been more of a challenge? And if you could change one thing with it, what would you do?
I mean, I think it's great for student. I was a student athlete. I wasn't, I was room, board, and books. That was what our scholarships were back in those days. I didn't have any opportunity to use my name or to use my basketball skills to get me a few dollars here and there on the side. So I'm all for, the betterment. I wish, last year we lost some players at, some unique times. So, the timing of when the portal closes and all those kind of things, I think is very important. I think is very, very important to keeping the continuity of your program. So that would probably be the only thing I change, but I've embraced it. I think it's been great for our players. I think it's great for these other players to have these opportunities, to speak to businesses and to, build their own brands around their basketball abilities and their academic abilities and their personalities. So I love that part of it. The hard part is just, not knowing what your roster is going to look like and just having guys be able to move on at a moment's notice. So that's just been the challenging part of it.
All right. Well, Coach, as a kid who grew up down the road from what I will always refer to the RAC, even though it does make me hungry every time you say Jersey Mike's Arena, there are changes coming to the RAC. Are you excited about these changes, and do you anticipate that it will continue to be the loud arena that we all know and love?
We don't want that to change at all. I love the way the arena is. I love the people that come. I love the acoustics in the arena. So hopefully that never changes. If they can upgrade some of the amenities and make it better for the fan base, that's tremendous. And I think those things are coming down the road. But really excited about what we've been able to build. And Jersey Mike's one of the toughest winning percentage over the last 5 years. Got to be one of the tops in college basketball. I'm thankful for the environment and don't want to tamper with it too much.
No, not at all. And you don't want to give up home games to do the improvements. So I know it may be a phased in thing. Look, either way, however it does, Jeff and I can't wait to get back up to the RAC to see a game. And we wish you continued success as you navigate this crazy schedule and continue to build this program. Thanks for always giving us a little bit of time to talk about it.
Guys, I appreciate you having me on. Thanks so much. You guys have a great night.